Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Well, we finally have the Record Store Day Black Friday 2023 list. So today I'm going over some of the titles that I'm interested in and some of the stuff I'm seeing other people talk about online. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist we put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a little thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So we finally got the Record Store Day Black Friday list. I know last year, and I think it was the year before also, we got this list in like mid-September. So beginning of October, it's a little bit later than it was over the last couple of years. And I don't know if they were just trying to put together a better list or what, but I know there's a lot of people that are really disappointed in this list. And the first time I scrolled through it, I really only saw a couple of things I was really interested in. And then the more I went over the list, I ended up finding more and more things. So I end up with 5 albums that I've got on my must-have list. And then another 3 or 4 that I'm kind of on the fence about. It really have to depend on what pricing looks like. I will say at the time of the recording this, I don't know what any of the pricing looks like for Record Store Day Black Friday. Over the next couple of days, I'm sure some of that will kind of roll out online. And I'll do an updated video and kind of go over some of the pricing also. So Record Store Day Black Friday is going to be November 24th this year. It's the day after Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So for Record Store Day releases, you have RSD First, and then you have RSD Exclusives. The exclusives are only going to be released on Record Store Day. You won't get that repress later down the line at any point. At least they shouldn't. And then RSD First, you're getting that on Record Store Day, and then at some point over the next 6 to 12 months or so, more than likely you'll see it get repressed. Sometimes it's not on the same color as Record Store Day. Sometimes Record Store Day release will be on like a colored vinyl, and then the repress will be on black. They do that a lot. And I will say that a solid like 90% of RSD First do get repressed later on down the line. So if you see something on the list and you've only got like maybe 1 or 2 albums and they're both RSD First releases, you don't have to stand outside in the cold. At least here in the Midwest, it gets pretty cold on Black Friday. So, a lot of times you can kind of wait and pick up those represses later. So I'll go down through my list in alphabetical order. The first one, this is the Beach Boys Christmas album. This is an RSD First. There's 7,000 copies going to be available. It's going to be on green vinyl. This was released back in 1964. There's 7 holiday classics on here, and then there's also 5 original tracks from the Beach Boys on here. As much as I love Christmas music and I love some of the versions that are on this album, this is one of the ones that really kind of depend on pricing. This is like $22 to $25. I'll probably grab a copy for Record Store Day, but anything above that I'll probably pass on it. I can probably pick up a used copy for cheaper than that. And so like I said, it's one I got on my maybe list. And then you've got Buck Cherry Time Bomb. This is an RSD First. There's 2,000 copies going to be available of this. This is on metallic brown with black swirl vinyl. I'm sure it's going to look pretty sweet. This was released in 2001. It was the last album with the original lineup from Buck Cherry, which I've only listened to the first couple of albums. I haven't heard this album in probably 20 years now. So I'll go back there and stream that one. I probably won't pick that one up though. But like I said, because I'm not the biggest Buck Cherry fan, I do like their first or second album. I don't remember which one it was. It came out for Record Store Day a year or 2 back. But this one I can probably just grab it on CD and be happy with it. One that I'm not all that interested in, but I see a ton of people talking about online, is Coheed and Cambria live at the Starland Ballroom. This is an RSD exclusive. 4,900 copies going to be available. It's a double LP. It's on solar flare vinyl. I don't know what color that means, but I'm sure it's going to look pretty cool. This was released in 2005. It's the first time it's ever been available on vinyl. It's been bootlegged a bunch of times over the years, and I know a lot of people that have been big fans of this album and been talking about it for the last 6 or 8 months. I've seen more people posting about it, wanting to get an official pressing of that. So I'm sure it's going to be a quick mover on Record Store Day, especially, like I said, it's going to be an RSD exclusive. And then for Record Store Day, you always get a bunch of great jazz releases, whether it's Record Store Day in April or Record Store Day Black Friday. You get some good ones. You got Eric Dolphy, Iron Man coming out. This is an RSD exclusive. 2,200 copies going to be available, so it's a little more limited. And this is going to be on Gold Nugget vinyl. Looks kind of cool. I saw a mock-up of it online. Released in 1968, but it was recorded back in '63. I love Eric's music. I've got a couple of albums. I'm unfamiliar with this one though, and I know it's got a bunch of great reviews. So this is one of the ones where I'm on the fence about. So it really kind of depends on pricing for me. Over the last few record store days, the Doors have released some really cool stuff. I picked up a couple of them. I've kind of passed on some other ones, though. Looks like we're getting a pretty cool release this year, though. This is Live in Bakersfield. This is a RSD exclusive. 7,500 copies going to be available. It's a double LP. This was recorded June 5th, 1970. It's never been available before. So by this point, mid 1970, really from like late 1969 through 1970, the Doors, if you go back and listen to their live stuff, they're absolutely on fire. Probably the peak of their career. At that point, they've been together for 5 years, and they're really a lot more experimental with their live shows at this point. And looking over the reviews and some of the stuff I've heard from bootlegs of this album, I think you're getting a lot of that same stuff, that experimental kind of stuff from on this release here. So like I said, this is another one of those where it kind of depends on pricing whether or not I'll pick it up. But I've always been a big Doors fan since I was a kid, so it's probably one I'll probably end up grabbing. And then another great jazz release coming out. You got Bill Evans' Tales live in Copenhagen, 1964. This is also an RSD exclusive. 3,650 copies going to be available. Recorded in August in 1964. It's never been released before. So it's another one of those Bill Evans releases for Record Store Day. I've never been disappointed by a Bill Evans RSD release. I'm sure this one will probably be the same. The next release is one that probably a lot of people skipped over and just didn't really pay all that much attention to. It's going to be a good release though, and it's definitely one I'm looking forward to. It's definitely one I've got on my must-have list. But it's a Goo Goo Dolls self-titled debut album. This came out back in 1987. It's been long out of print. I will say that if all you know the Goo Goo Dolls is like the pop rock kind of stuff from the mid to late 90s, their early stuff is drastically different, and you will be absolutely shocked by, at least if you listen to their first 2 albums, drastically different than anything else they did in their career. Their debut album, the best way to put it, it's like late 80s punk is the best way to put it. And it's just it's really interesting. Listen, it's not, I don't think it's their best album, but it's definitely one I need to pick up for Record Store Day. Like I said, it's gonna be super limited. It's 3,200 copies gonna be available. It's on red and clear vinyl. It's gonna look pretty cool. It's an RSD exclusive also, so it's not one I'll be able to get later on down the line. Like I said, it's been long out of print, so it's another one that's going to be on my must-have list. And so is this next one. This is Lil Wayne, I Am Music. This is an RSD first, so I might pass on this for Record Store Day and pick it up later on down the line. But for Record Store Day, there's going to be 5,000 copies going to be available. It's a double LP. It's on translucent red vinyl, but from the description, it sounds like the RSD release is going to be on translucent red vinyl, and then when this gets repressed later on down the line, it's going to be on black vinyl. So if you're like me and you love colored vinyl, you'll probably want to grab the RSD version. This is the first time they've ever done a career-spanning greatest hits collection from Lil Wayne. There's 18 tracks on here across 2 LPs. In my opinion, Lil Wayne is one of the greatest rappers in music history. So this is definitely one I'm going to grab this year. The next release is another one of those that I kind of skipped over the first time going through the list. I didn't even notice it. And then once I saw people talking about it online, I was like, oh man, I went back and looked. I'm kind of still up in the air on it. It really kind of depends on pricing on this one, but I might grab it depending on how much it is. But this is Linkin Park Lost Demos. This is a RSD first. There's going to be a ton of these that will be available for Record Store Day. About 10,000 copies of this going to be available. It's going to be on translucent sea blue vinyl. This is all part of the Meteora 20th anniversary box set that came out late last year, early part of this year. It's all available on streaming. You can go back and check it all out. Some really good stuff that's included in this. So these are all demos, but the first 3 tracks are all fully finished songs. They're all intended to be part of Meteora, but end up getting cut late in the production process. It's like I said, if it's like $20-25, I'll probably grab it, but we'll see how much it is for Record Store Day. Then you got another great jazz album coming out. This is Charles Mingus, Incarnations. This is a RSD first. It's going to be 3,000 copies going to be available of this. So this is all recorded during the 1960 recording sessions where I think Charles kicked out like 2 or 3 great jazz albums out of those same recording sessions. And then then they kind of compiled these rare and unreleased tracks, kind of put them all together and going to put it out for Record Store Day, kind of completing the release of those recording sessions. This is all remastered. These are all cleaned up and cut by Bernie Grunman. I'm sure they're going to sound absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely one I'm looking forward to. The next one is another one of those must-haves I've got on my list this year. This is Post Malone, The Diamond Collection. This is a RSD First. There's 10,000 copies that's going to be available. It's double LP. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's, I was never a big Post Malone fan. I'd like some of his music over the years, but not enough to really kind of buy into or buy a couple of his albums. I really listened to any of them until Austin came out earlier this year. And then ever since then, I think I've got all of his albums now. And, I just love his music. He's got a bunch of great songs. So I don't know if people know this now, but Post Malone holds the record for the most RIAA Diamond certified singles. He's got 18 of them. So that's what this compilation is. It's 18 songs over 2 LPs. Like I said, it's an easy must buy for me. And then you've got Skid Row, Beside Ourselves coming out. This is a RSD exclusive, 2,500 copies. It's on yellow and black marble vinyl. Released in 1992. This was included in the box set that came out, last year? It was the year before, 2021, I think, when that Skid Row box set came out. And since then, Skid Row has gone and slowly re-released all the albums that were included in that box set. So I know some people got kind of mad about it because they didn't have to buy all the albums at one time. They could have just bought them when they were re-released. But they've kind of reissued all of them over the last month or so. So it kind of makes sense that we're getting this one, the B-Sides album, for Record Store Day. The big complaint that a lot of people always have for Record Store Day, especially Record Store Day Black Friday, there's always way too many soundtracks. There's way too many live albums. I've only got 3 live albums I'm going to talk about, and then I've only got 1 soundtrack. It's not really a soundtrack. It's a various artist collection that I'm interested in grabbing. This is probably one I'm going to pick up for Record Store Day. But this is Punk Goes Christmas. It's a RSD First, 2,600 copies. It's a double LP. It's on green vinyl. So this was released back in 2013. It's the 10th anniversary of this release. And it's great. And I'm not even a big fan of a lot of the bands on here, but these are great versions of Christmas music, of these Christmas classics on here. And I'm a big fan of Christmas music. I always get into it every year. So this is definitely one that, like I said, I'm gonna grab this year for Record Store Day. And then the last album on my list is Youngblood 21st Century Liability. This is a RSD exclusive. There's 4,000 copies going to be available. It's on translucent magenta vinyl. Released in 2018, celebrating its 5th anniversary with this release. And, I'm a big Youngblood fan. I saw him in concert earlier this year. Was really impressed by the guy. I actually got a copy of this. I picked up a copy of original pressing of this back, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 back. I found it for a pretty good price. So I was kind of on the fence about it. I'm probably going to grab this one, though. It's got slightly different artwork on there, and I think there's also there's a bonus track on here, and there's also a bonus live track on here too. So get a little bit extra with this release. And then the last one I got on my list is not a record. I know it's Record Store Day. We do have a couple of CDs coming out for Record Store Day also. And this is one that I'm definitely looking forward to. This is Dr. Dre, The Chronic. This is a RSD exclusive. It's going to be 4,000 copies. That's going to be available. I love this album. It's an absolutely iconic rap album celebrating its 30th anniversary. The cool thing about this is it's coming in the long CD box. And to be completely honest, I think that's how all CDs should come in 2023. I think it get more people into CDs with better packaging. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up for Record Store Day, or if you're interested in picking up anything. There's definitely, I'd say there's probably 5, maybe 6 must-haves for me. And then I'm kind of on the fence for another 3 or 4 releases, but I'm sure my list will change over the next few weeks, especially once pricing comes out. I'm sure there'll be several titles that get knocked off my list, but let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below. And that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.